Marta.
Trying to keep their homes, trying to not be homeless, trying to not be underwater, in this weird banking world. So indie media is trying to talk to these folks and put it online, let the world see what's happening here.
Yeah.
Apparently it's not just happening here, it's happening in Chicago, New York, LA, Philly, I think. So it's a nationwide day to be in the streets against Fannie and Freddie Mac. So get out there and let them know you want.
What's your story now?
My name is Amy Barnes, and I had to fight like 5 times to save my home. I'd have had to blow the whistle on Bank of America twice for fraud, to the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, and to the White House. Bank of America is just one of these big banks that have been stealing money to say that they are liquid when they really are not. Every home is worth saving. It costs 5 times the amount of the loss of a home to the community when a home goes into foreclosure.
Seems like Bank of America is having a lot of problems lately with people.
Yes, part of their problem is liquidity. I'm an accounting major, and I discovered that they were cooking the books by taking a hold of customers' escrow overage monies and keeping them in order to say that they had the assets on hand, when they really did not. All of the home loans were overvalued by as much as 4 times the real market value through a series of backhanded deals. They were working with appraisers and with the Fed to declare a minimum of $50,000 debt on every loan.
Same thing with me too. They keep holding my payments, won't apply it to my account.
Right, well they're holding on to them to say that it's an asset account and they have it. Right, and as an accounting major, I did the math, and I spent 8 hours solid on the phone investigating. And I discovered that the fraud is just rampant. They said, Bank of America claimed that they lost the documents. That is not true. I know for a fact that Bank of America scanned all documents in at a central processing location. And when they claimed that they lost the file, that was not the case. Bank of America had the files all along. They were just tricking homeowners into believing that they were going to get the loan mods, and then wham, out of nowhere, foreclosure time.
Same thing happened with me too. They keep stalling around, giving me the runaround on the loan modifications. Say that they don't have the papers when they have everything.
No, they were lying. Bank of America lied. And what's even worse is the customer service people in the call centers for the servicing companies are claiming negotiating rights when they don't have that. I was told by Ceteris that in fact they have no negotiating power on any loan, that Freddie and Fannie are the only entities with a negotiation.
People you can't talk to.
Right, it's a matter of actual implied and apparent authority. If they do not have all authority, they cannot negotiate a loan. And I have fought in pre-litigation negotiations and won the crystallization of my modification. I had to threaten a $150,000 lawsuit. And I'm in federal court right now, in part over this. Public supermarkets discriminated against my hearing loss. And the other portion of my lawsuit is that I was blocked from asking for my money back from Bank of America. Because right now, if you're in a wage slave situation, the companies are asking their workers not to go and protest this. They cite policy that says that workers are not allowed to be controversial off the clock. So there is a definite slavery argument in that. And I have fought in pre-litigation negotiations for 4 years with Bank of America and Ceteris. Bank of America shipped their toxic loans out to IBM's lending arm called Ceteris Inc. in order to avoid a settlement on those accounts. What you do not know about the settlement negotiations is the fact that it relies on who your current company is. So if you're currently with Bank of America, then yes, you're eligible, but if you're not, then you are not allowed to take part in the settlement.
Where'd you get all your information?
I did ground level research by calling into the call centers and reading the documents.
Did you Google any of this?
I Googled all of it, but Google was just one stop. I actually called and spent many hours on the phone. I mean, if you add it all up, I spent about 200 hours doing branches, asking questions. That's what the banks are not telling you, is that the person you need to talk to when redoing your loan is your loan negotiator.
I have a relationship counselor. That's what it's called.
You ask for the loan negotiator. Typically, these people have some kind of legal background, like they're paralegal or they're a former lawyer.
Right. I didn't get anywhere with my company either.
All you have to do, keep escalating. You ask who has the authority. The key question in any case is to ask who has the authority to negotiate your loan. That is the magic bullet that will get you through to whatever you want.
I asked about that too, and they wouldn't tell me.
I've gotten fees taken off my account from Best Bank, where they said it was impossible to take off the account.
Are you behind in your payments?
Yes. I'm 6 months in arrears. I had to file bankruptcy.
Me too. Yeah, I'm working on my 13 at home.
Well, you know what? I've got a lawyer.
Yeah, right, well.
Clark & Washington's fantastic. The only reason why I went with Clark & Washington is because I used to be a merchant. I used to sell Avon, so my merchant account services would not stop deducting from my bank account. And I knew that my case was complicated enough, it required a lawyer.
What do we want? Homes! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Homes! When do we want it? Now! Okay, next. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! Homes! Housing is a human right! Fight, fight, fight! 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 Yeah! Hey, hey, Fannie Mae, you can't take our homes away! Hey, hey, Fannie Mae, you can't take our homes away! In the middle of the street, our house. In the middle of the street, our house. Yes. In the middle of the
To be out here with all these young people from all walks of life, young and old like myself, and poor and middle income, and I dare say some that's wealthy, but that have some sense of what's going on with the housing is not right. And so we're here to march on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and let them know of our displeasure. One of the things that we want to put upon the minds and hearts of these people, decision makers, is this notion about bundling these foreclosed properties and then selling them to the 1% for them to make a pile of money. Profit. It's just not, don't make any sense, not right, and it must stop. And I think this is not a one-day situation. That's right. People are fed up all over the world. It's a matter of the value of the human being, the human personality, and we're tired of being trampled on. And so we're going to let them know in no uncertain terms that we need another way of doing business. And this regional director and the head of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac need to get their butts in line with what's reality.
Yes.
And this notion that we can't rescue people that's on the water is a damnable lie. They just need to do it. For example, my condo downtown in 2006 was valued at $400,000. If you look at the tax rolls now, it's down to $142,000. And that's a damnable situation. And so I should be paying for what the thing is worth, not for what, when the thieves at the banks and things have stolen all the equity. We want it back, and we want it back
This is Anita from the Metro Atlanta Task Force for the Homeless at Peachtree and Pine. Just speak into it, that's okay.
The connection between the foreclosures and the loss of housing is absolute homelessness. Yeah. We have 65,000 plus individuals in this city who will lose their homes and become homeless this year. 65,000. 65,000 people who are in housing now will lose their housing before the end of the year. And this happens every single year. And yet, we see thousands of empty units, thousands of foreclosed houses, 50,000 empty houses. We need to do something about that, y'all. We have the need and we have the resource. We need to match them up. We need to match them up before the weather gets cold. Yeah. Shelters are being closed. Many of the shelters charge to stay there. And the city is passing more ordinances that criminalize the behavior of people who are forced to live on the streets. We cannot let more people live on the streets and die on the streets. This will be the 25th year we've celebrated the lives of people who died on the streets in Atlanta. Yes. Housing is a human right. Yes, we have to house the people with no housing first. Let's take those empty units and put people in them. Yeah. Let's do this before the cold weather starts. Yeah. Thank you so much. We join with Occupy Atlanta and Jobs with Justice and all the other groups who are here who work day and night tirelessly to even out the injustice in this country. We have to have housing for all of our citizens. Housing is a human right. Housing is a human right. Thank you so much.
Sister who is staying at Peachtree and Pine, Micheline, would just like to share a little bit of her story with you.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey.
My thing is this. I am personally tired of having to wake my children up at the crack of dawn to get out of somebody else's facility before 6. Do my children deserve that? No. Does any one of us deserve that? No. This movement, the only way change happened is when we got into the streets, when we marched, when we unified. They're expecting us not to unify. To the streets! So what are we doing here today? Unify. Unify. That's right. The time